In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Dear audience, this is Language and Linguistics Online. I am from National University of Modern Languages and I am going to talk about syntactic forms, grammatical functions and semantic roles. This is chapter 3 from Peter Sell's book and I will be giving you an introductory lesson about these three things and how these three concepts they can be combined together to understand syntax in a better way. Of course, in my previous videos I have been talking about syntactic forms. When I say syntactic forms, it means we are talking about lexical categories. In lexical categories we have discussed PS rules, phrase structure rules, and I have talked about noun phrase, verb phrase, adjectival phrase, prepositional phrase, adverbial phrase and adverbial phrase. And of course we have also analyzed the sub-constituents of these phrases. Now we will move forward and we shall talk about the grammatical functions. So far as grammatical functions are concerned, we have got subject or subjecthood of the subject, object or objecthood of the object. We have got predicate, modifier. So these are some of the concepts that we will be covering in the chapter number 3 from Peter Sell's. The monkey scratched a boy on Monday. So this is one of the sentences which is there in Peter Sell's book. This sentence can be structurally represented in terms of either syntactic categories or grammatical functions. Now you should look at number 3. First of all, syntactic categories. The sentence is, the monkey scratched a boy on Monday. So the monkey is NP, noun phrase. Scratched is VP, verb phrase. A boy is another NP which is coming after the verb phrase. And then on Monday is PP because on is a preposition. When we talk about the grammatical function, this is how this sentence can be divided or analyzed. The monkey is the subject of the sentence. Scratched is predicate. Okay. Some people, or even in traditional grammar, you may have read that verb plus object, it will make the predicate part. But here we will be looking at the verb and we will be taking it as a predicator. A boy is object and on Monday is a modifier. Of course, it's an adverbial phrase as well. If we talk about the function, these ideas are coming from functional linguistics. In functional linguistics, we have got ideational metafunction, we have got, textual metafunction and interpersonal metafunction. And these three metafunctions, they are there in any sentence that we speak or write. Ideational metafunction means the content which is there in the sentence. Sentence is made up of language, is made up of words or phrases, but of course it has got content as well. So content is the ideational metafunction. Then when you are speaking the language, we always keep in our mind who is our listener. So keeping in mind our listener, we determine that what kind of language is to be spoken, because it will have an effect on the listener. So we know for whom we can borrow the money and from whom we cannot borrow the money. We know with whom we can be very close and with whom we cannot be very close. We know with whom we can speak slang language and with whom we can speak only the academic language. So keeping in mind our relationship that we are building with the listener or that we are building with the content, language is produced. And third, textual metafunction is the language itself. Of course, these three metafunctions, they work together and we can determine the grammatical functions or the semantic roles which are there in the sentence. As shown here, the monkey is an NP in terms of its syntactic form, but is the subject in terms of its grammatical function. The NP, a boy, is the object, while the verb scratch functions as a predicator. More importantly, we consider the entire VP to be a predicate which describes a property of the subject. Of course, in traditional grammar, I have already told you that something which is coming after the verb is a predicate. So from verb, so object, it is part of the predicate, but somehow or the other, somewhere, sometimes we will be dividing the predicator, we will be determining it that it is the verb, and the noun phrase which is coming after the verb phrase will be treated as an object, and if there is an adverbial, we will be taking it as a modifier. We also can represent sentence structure in terms of semantic roles. Dear audience, I have already made a video on semantic roles, and 8 to 9 different kinds of semantic roles, they have been described under the title Semantic Roles in Semantics. So I am not going to in detail to talk about all of these roles here, because it is just an introductory lecture where I am going to talk about that what we are going to do throughout this chapter. Constituents can be considered in terms of conceptual notions of semantic roles such as agent, patient, locator or location, instrument and the like. So if you open the door with a key, so key with a key is an instrument, and the doer of the action is the agent, and receiver of the action which is affected by the action is a patient, and locator or location or locative is basically the place where the event takes place. So consider this sentence number 4. John tagged the monkey in the forest. So John is the doer of the action. It can be the subject, but here in semantic roles we can say it is the agent. Monkey is the object, but here we can say it is the patient. And in the forest is the location or locative. The monkey was tagged in the forest by John. So here again the monkey was tagged, though monkey is coming at the place of the subject here, but here monkey is not performing any action. It is still a patient. So we need to differentiate between grammatical functions and the semantic roles. So sometimes the grammatical function is of a subject, but the semantic role will be of a patient. Sometimes the agent is there and sometimes the patient is there. Both of these sentences describe a situation in which someone named John tagged a particular monkey. In this situation, John is the agent and monkey is the patient of the tagging event. This in turn means that in both cases, John has the semantic role of agent, whereas the monkey has the semantic role of patient. So this is what I have just explained. John tagged the monkey in the forest. So John is the agent, but here John is the subject as well. The monkey was tagged in the wood. So here again the monkey is the patient. It is not the agent, but it is coming at the place of the subject. And in the wood or in the forest is the location. Throughout this book we will see that English grammar refers to these 3 different levels of information, that is syntactic category, grammatical function and semantic role, and they interact with each other. So of course they interact and they convey different kinds of meanings. It is up to the speaker, up to the listener, up to the person who is analyzing the sentences, that how he or she is conceptualizing the whole discourse. From now it may appear that they are equivalent classifications. For example, an agent is a subject and an NP, and a patient is an object and an NP. However, we will get further into the details of grammar. We will see many ways in which the 3 levels are not simply coextensive. So in the introductory part of this chapter, I have talked about grammatical categories. These we have already read: noun phrase, verb phrase, adjectival phrase, adverb phrase or prepositional phrase. And then I have talked about grammatical functions. We have here identified some of the grammatical functions that in our upcoming videos we will be exploring in detail, like subjecthood of the subject, objecthood of the object, modifier. And we have talked about semantic roles. But of course for semantic roles already a video has been made and uploaded. Thank you very much.